If you're in sales or in communication, one of the big things that you need to learn is a technical term. I don't even know if it's a correct term, but let's consider it that. I call it vocal modulation. So if you've ever been, if you're in the music production space and you've ever had a vocal on an audio track, I used to be a sound engineer back in the days when I was running a recording studio. I would take a vocal from a musician, rapper, singer, and you can literally play with the octaves, you can play with the effects, you can do all kinds of things to literally change the actual vocal itself. So one of the things that a lot of people don't do is that they don't focus on really practicing vocal ultimately manipulation. And modulating it is a form of controlled manipulation. And the reason that's important is because then you're able to strip back the layers from a tree trunk and really get to the core and the essence of ultimately changing tone, which, by the way, will have huge impacts in your personal life. Massive impacts. And that's why people will often say to you, I hear your apology, but I could tell you didn't mean it. And if you're a man, frankly, listening, then a lot of women will hear things that you can't hear. I think there's maybe studies showing that they've got a different range of frequency, I think, in terms of what they have access to. But your ability to manipulate this will make such a difference in the way that you communicate things. Sincerity, tension, anger, fear, regret, excitement, all of these types of things you communicate with tone. And what you'll often find is that you have, if you don't intentionally practice, have quite a limited range in terms of your vocals. And the more that you're able to work with it, the better you're able to enhance your levels of communication. So work on it. And one of the things that, as Aaron, Evan, who are listening here, will know, that's why I bang on about the importance of pantomime and pretending that it's in a galaxy far, far away. There's a reason that we do that stuff. The reason is to get used to practicing vocal gymnastics. And where it becomes important is if you say, listen, look, I'm so sorry that I'm being rude. I totally appreciate where you're coming from. I just need like 10 more seconds of your time. Can you do that for me? Is that okay? Can you guys hear how many different tones there are going on in that small segment? If you don't have the ability, and it's learned, it's not instilled. It's not that I came out into the world as an English speaking person. And for all of you people who are British or ultimately used to that kind of neutral accent, which is a very, very common thing in Northern Europe, as well as for the team who are in South Asia. So we've got, our team, we've got India, we've got Pakistan, we've got the UK, we've got Europe. Not the Americans, because they've got a little bit of advantage. You'll see the way that we communicate tends to be quite flat. You don't distinguish yourself. It's a bit of a, you're all right, mate. How you doing? Yeah, good. How's everything? Yeah, I'm all right. You all right? Yeah, we're all right. Yeah, everything's all good. And we laugh about it because it's part of the British banter. But when it comes to communication with people that you love and people that you care for, and in sales conversations, it really helps. So practice your tone. Engage in the pantomime and try and learn about different things and watch different TV shows where they're doing play or cabaret. And as you get more comfortable with it, you'll begin to be able to expand your range, your palette with which you can ultimately use to paint your canvas. Most people have such a limited vocal range, and you miss money on the table because you can 50% of the deals that I've done have probably come from the way that I've said things as opposed to the content of what I'm saying. Because people will just say, oh, you know what? When I speak to Riaz, who's listening, I know that for the users on you on YouTube, you can't you can't see that. They're like, I just feel like he's going to take care of me. And these things become important whenever, especially in a sales environment, a new business environment, you're explaining something to someone who doesn't quite understand what it is that you're explaining. That's when tonality becomes important, intention, because you communicate intention not through, this is the whole body language thing, right? And it's so much more important in a remote environment because people can only see perhaps this section of your body. So you need to displace what they miss with fundamentally your tone of voice. And that's how you communicate certainty, assurance, determination, assurance in spite of results being problematic, of delivery being whatever it might be. So practice your tone, and the more that you get comfortable with it, the more that it will stay with you for life. It's a life skill. It really is a life skill. And the difference it's also made, frankly, in my personal life, I'm with an Italian woman. They have a completely different tonal range when it comes to me as a British person. I've had to relearn to some degree the way that I speak to communicate the affection, the care, the attention, the self-assurance that is required for me to be ultimately the person that I'd like to be in this relationship. That's of course also carried over to my actual selling. Now, if you're American, you for the don't get me wrong, it exists everywhere, but there's scales. But if you're in any of those countries that I've spoken about, this is real. And it will disadvantage you in many, many places because everyone's working from the same damn vocal range, some nominal variation. Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is, I can't, I'm excited. Yeah, I can't wait. No, 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 definitely. So what I want to talk to you about today is absolutely, I can't wait. Yeah, so what I want to talk to you about today, the difference is so dramatic that if you don't work on this, it will hold you back from the progress you want to make in your career.